Hi everybody, today I want to go over one of my chess games that I played online on chess.com on the 17th of April. It was a rapid game, so both sides have 10 minutes, and the outcome is that I won, and let's just go into the game. So I started with d4, they played c6, and this is obviously looking for e4 and then d5, so looking if I want to transpose into a Caro-Kann, because it's not actually an actual opening, but I decided to go for c4, which transposes into the Slav defense, which is where you play d5 on move 1. Then I just develop naturally, and here they played g6. This is known as the Schlechter variation, which I'm not too familiar with, but you know, we're 1700s, we don't play theory really. So I play bishop g5, which is fine, but actually the most common move here is e3. So the theory would go e3. But they played bishop g7, I played e3 now. They castled, and I guess the reason why you don't want this is maybe they can just play h6 here, and then you have to give away your bishop. So you basically have to trade it away because there's not much else you can do with it. So, but they didn't play that. They went for I went for bishop e2, and then they went for bishop f5, which is already a little bit of an inaccuracy because there are sort of tactics here. So usually in the Slav defense, many of you probably are familiar with this. If you play knight c3 and then they play bishop f5, there's sort of a trap here. So you can, for example, take and take, and then queen comes to b3, and black is sort of overloaded. So this pawn is attacked 2 times, and this pawn is attacked 2 times, and I think actually the best move might be to go back with the bishop. Well, at least if white doesn't take, I think. But yeah, it's problematic, and yeah, the best move is knight f6, which just gives away this pawn for free, right? So you already know that black is in a bit of trouble. Oh, wait, sorry, knight f6, yeah. Knight f6, which is giving away this bishop for free, this pawn for free. So yeah, so now explaining why this line is weak. So I could have taken here, and if black takes back, I could have taken with the c pawn and then played this key move queen b3. And now black is sort of in the same situation of probably losing a pawn. So let's say e6, then we take, and then knight d7. So we're already up a pawn for no reason. So, but I didn't see that, so I just castled. They played knight b to d7, rook c1, okay, just hoping that the rook doesn't get on this diagonal here. Knight e4, maybe a bit premature, so I take, they take with the bishop, which also doesn't seem right. I attack the bishop, and now they play an interesting move, h5. So the problem with h5 is it's basically trying to trap the bishop. So if I do nothing, let's say you have this f3, bishop goes back, g5, bishop goes back, and then h4, and then your bishop is just trapped. So yeah, you obviously don't want that to happen. I don't know why the engine thinks this is fine. Oh, it's fine because this bishop is attacked. Okay, and you simultaneously make a retreat. But yeah, so this h5 move sort of sets a trap, and you know, back when I played the London system, I also would play a lot of h4 just to see, well, maybe they fall for the trap, and more often than not it would actually work. So but it's a bit mischievous, so it's not easy to see, I think, even at, if you consider 70-50 a high level, even at high level, but it's really not a high level. Yeah, so what could I have played next move? So I hate this navigation. It sort of doesn't go where I click. But okay. So if you play queen b3 here, you still have the same trap, and the reason this is even stronger now is because this pawn is protecting this bishop over here. So let's see what would have happened here. So we would have b6. We could have done f3, for example. Bishop goes back. We take the pawn, and we just have this extra pawn. And the other alternative is you can... what if they don't want to go back? What if they attack the queen? We actually have a very interesting move here, which is queen a3. So what this does is, let me try to use this pen thing. So we attack this pawn here with two attackers, right? And after we take with the bishop, we obviously have another fork. And this was sort of taking off the guard of the bishop, so we're actually also having an attack here. So yeah, white is just much better in this situation. So yeah, the line that it gives here is bishop d5, and yeah, then we just take, and it says +2. Well, I think it's more than +2, but yeah. Yeah, so white would be immediately winning in that line. Okay, but that didn't happen. But what I did is I took here, and they took back. Queen c2, and queen c2 is actually, maybe it would be more straightforward to play h3, for example, here. h3, and then they try to trap me, and obviously it doesn't work because I can always drop back to h2. Yeah, it would have been the most straightforward way. And queen c2 was basically attacking this pawn, but sort of forgetting about the trap. And after f6, the bishop is just trapped. But if you look closely, actually, you do have a lot of counterplay as white. So for one thing, you can capture this pawn, and which is what happened in the game. And after this pawn gets captured, you also capture this pawn, and then you're also attacking both of these pawns. So you're probably also getting a third pawn. Yeah, oops, sorry. So yeah, the engine doesn't actually like queen takes e4. It wants me to go back with the bishop and then lose it in like this different way. I'm not exactly sure why. So this, and then queen f5. And it's basically saying, look, these pawns are so deep in your territory, you're going to win them back anyway. But, you know, in my opinion, I think I'm still at a level where it's more important to actually get the material and not just say, well, we sort of have control over these pawns, because it's very easy to lose control, but it's harder to lose an actual full pawn. Yeah, and then this line queen c7, and sort of this knight can't move at all. So this is, I guess, the great advantage that white has. And once again, it doesn't even want me to capture this pawn for free. It's saying f4, it's saying to play f4, and then black is trying to break free with e5, because if you look at black's position, you know, they don't really have any moves. Like, the most they can do is shuffle the rook around, maybe. You know, it doesn't really have any good moves. Yeah, now it's finding e5. So, but that didn't happen, so instead I just took 2 pawns, and here I took my third pawn. And 3 pawns for bishop aren't that bad. So the engine is actually saying white is a little bit better now. And here I played bishop d3 with the very obvious intent of going here and forking these two. So I think they should have spotted this. Yeah, the best move here is knight h7, because it prevents... yeah, it just attacks the queen, and the black queen is also protecting. But they didn't see that. I guess they played queen f7, which is a very strange move. I don't understand what that does. I guess they want to move the queens closer so they can trade them off. And yeah, then I played my plan, which was bishop g5, which wins this pawn. But actually, if you see here, I take this pawn, and this is considered an inaccuracy, and the reason is that this is a sort of very strong bishop, and if you have opposite colored bishops but with queens on the board, then you actually have a very, very attacking game. So this king could become a target and could become pretty weak. So they actually don't like me giving away this very nice bishop for the pawn. Right, I'm getting 4-4-3, but it's still a bad trade because of it being such a good piece. Okay, yeah, then they tried to attack me. Queen g4 is what I looked at, and this is I didn't want to sort of have this stare down, so I went for queen h3, which is also fine. Then they doubled up the rooks. So maybe a different idea would have been to move the king here and then threaten this sort of thing. But after f4, which is, by the way, the same idea that I played in the game, you just don't actually have anything because the queen just goes here to f3 and black just doesn't have anything really. So I don't think rook a f8 is much better or much worse. Then there's f4 by me, which is, just trying to make a safe home for the queen and maybe lifting one of those rooks. Queen g6, rook gets lifted, rook h5, queen here. Yeah, here I missed a nice move. I just was too focused on trading queens and also being low on time. So I could have gone here, which is obviously a great square. So you're attacking this, you're just deep in black's position, and just you can probably just win a pawn probably very easily. And but I played queen g3, and then you trade, and they played king f7 and actually missed the key move here. So the key move that I should have played is c5, because it prevents black from infiltrating my position. So after c5, both the bishop is sort of inactive and the rooks can't really do anything. So c5 here would have been the best move, but I played rook f1, and yeah, the engine even says it's a blunder. I don't think it's that bad because it doesn't even give away that much advantage, but okay. So let's say how black would have punished rook f1. So they could have played rook a5. Here would have prevented losing a pawn with a5. And here they have this sort of nasty move c5. And what this sort of does is, well, obviously if I try to push or anything, then you just lose this pawn and your whole sort of queen side crumbles. And if you take, it's the same story. And the only move, and the move that white would have had to find, would have been b4. After which the rook would have taken the a pawn, and then you would have taken the c pawn. Right, and then, so if this doesn't really work as a continuation attacking this pawn, because white can attack the b pawn, but it's given, for example, a5 as continuation. So black could have this passed pawn, which is strong, but I still think white's position is actually pretty strong. So it's I wouldn't say this is losing or anything. See, I hate this. It's you're never going away actually clicking. Okay. Okay, but I didn't see that, so I played h3. I don't know why exactly. I don't know why the computer wants to play b4, because that just loses a pawn. Okay, well, apparently it's not making sense today, but yeah, I just played h3, e6. Okay, once again missing this b4 idea to prevent the infiltration into a5, and once again missing the infiltration into a5. And I'm just here positioning myself to trade rooks, which is obviously what I want, because in my opinion this is just a winning endgame, and apparently they didn't know that. But yeah, so maybe they also thought they were winning because they had the bishop. But yeah, so we basically traded, and here king f2 is considered a blunder in quotes, because they once again have c5, and you once again have this problem with these two weak squares on the diagonal. So c5 would have been a chance for white here, or for black here, but instead they played king f5, which is just a terrible move, because after king s3 I'm threatening to go g4 and just kick back the king, and like how is he going to stop this avalanche of pawns? So g4 and king f6, and it gets basically over after king f5, according to the engine. Yeah, e4. Yeah. So just I mean, look at this wall over here. So yeah, he just tries to go around a bit. I just close this bishop off. Then I go through the breakthrough on the f file. I think, yes, he just tries to trade, but he doesn't have a majority, so there's literally nothing he can even attempt, really. Yeah, okay, now this is just straightforward. So you have 3 connected passed pawns. Yeah, this obviously also doesn't work, so he would have had to try to fix my weaknesses on the dark squares, but you know, I could have maybe tried something like this, and if I do something like this, he could have tried that maybe, and then sort of on the dark squares, you know, this, and then yes, this, but after f6 check maybe. Yeah, but even this is actually too slow, you know. Okay, but yeah, he didn't really see that, so he literally even has no chances on the queen side. Yeah, just push, just move my king. Yeah, this is just straightforward. So this is cut off from the bishop through this pawn, so the king has to go there, but if the king goes there, we can have moved this pawn forward, and the bishop is actually not in time to stop this pawn. So that's what happened. Okay, I got a little bit low on time here, though, so I got 34 seconds here, but yeah, it's not the fastest mate, but it's some sort of mate that I found. Yeah, just a ladder mate. Yeah, and he resigned in this position. So that's actually one of the highest rated opponents that I've beaten on chess.com. 1820, and before this game, obviously 1830 probably. So I was pretty proud of myself, and I think it's also very instructive, especially with the opening ideas, just sort of having in mind this weak deep pawn if they try to go for a Slav setup. And yeah, making sure when they play h5 that you don't get your pieces trapped. Yeah, so that's my game, and that's all I wanted to show you for today. Thanks for watching.